What I do is here at the Navy Pier at the fishing village, Ban Chong Sami-san. Got my beach buddies here with me. They always come to say hi when I come here. So you've heard me talk about the crabby step, the crab step. And I was just reminded of it yesterday because there was a post of this new model of a car that could crab crawl. Pretty interesting. So I'm not going to talk about the sources of this position and or step, but it fits in everything that I teach, like much of what I do. It is a kind of position that could be used, if you use it as a position, that you position yourself in that way as kind of a way to draw your opponent towards you and then entrap them, okay? The cool thing about it is that you can use either tool. But the way I'm going to teach it is as an introduction to the rear hand jab. And so, you know, boxers will always say that a jab is done with the lead hand, and that's, you know, that's what it means, right? But we also know that it has the connotation of a not being fully committed, right? Unless it's a stiff jab. So anyway, I create my own terms because that way I understand things better. And so to me, you could jab with either the front or rear hand, and in fact you could jab with a variation of punches. So let's talk about the crabby, okay? So the crab position basically would be, let's say that I'm in a more open stance, okay, and that I'm directly in front of the opponent. Hey, watch out, doggy. No. Bye, Lloyd. Okay, that I'm directly in front of the opponent, and that I want to begin. This is a person who has their left foot forward, and I have my right foot forward, okay, and unmatched leads. And so here I'm in an open stance, okay, but my facing is still forward, all right, forward facing. Once I turn it this way at an angle, that now I have opened my facing, okay, and I'm facing away. And I'm not talking about where I look, I'm talking about my sternum, okay. All right, so this is at about a 45, it could be a 30, it could be whatever. And then the more gross movement or position would be actually to go at a 90 this way, all right. Usually that won't happen unless you do something like a shoulder roll in this position, in that direction, all right. So normally you wouldn't be facing completely at a 90, because the idea behind this, let me get to my point now, is that I'm going to use my rear straight punch in order to flank, okay, which would set me up for what? Stealing the corner with the pivot punch. Okay? All right. Or, what is our second example that we've done over and over again? I use the rear straight punch to angle out and steal the corner, and I shoot this way with my rear and then follow up with a hook. That's a zigzag, right? Desu ne? Wakarimasu ka? Okay, so, but what I want to introduce is basically turning my rear straight punch or cross, if it crosses, or if it goes straight. That's differentiating. Sometimes the elbow pops up, sometimes it stays down, okay? And so basically I want to jab with my rear hand and create immense forward pressure to back them up. And this is really odd to sparring partners from various backgrounds, because no one really does this, okay? I haven't seen anyone do it, so give it a try. It'll really fuck with them. Let's first talk about actually the boxer's jab, right? So you have boxers that double up on their jabs, right? Triple up on their jabs, right? Okay, so the idea here is that I'm also going to do the same thing but with my rear hand. Okay, so that's going to be the first one. I'll do all on the high line for right now. But the idea is that I'm not going to keep moving this way. I'm going to move this way. And that's what I mean by the crab step from the crab position. And believe me, it is overwhelming pressure, but what is it a setup for? Again, basically what we said, okay? Jab, 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 pivot punch, okay? Jab, 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 cross, and hook, okay? So there's your zigzag. The other thing that works really well is changing the line of attack or the level of attack. So I would jab, high, low, high, finish. High, low, high, finish. Okay? So if you can't see me from being too close there, bang, 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 right? Boom, boom. All right? That also is quite a shocking tactic to most because hook punches aren't generally down the middle from the person being on the side. Generally, people hook in front of you. So it's a very kind of Lomachenko kind of thing, if you see I'm saying. Okay, so we got triple jab on the high line from the crabby and close it up. Okay, we got triple jab on the high line, close it up. I just did that one, didn't I? Still early in the morning. Come on now, boys. Triple jab, cross and hook. Okay. Then we have the other side, which is using the lead as a rear. So the idea is I throw my rear straight, but then I keep moving on the same line. So again, that's really what I want you to see. This creates my flank, but I'm still in line with the center, with their center, but this side of my body is outside of their lead foot. And now this is someone that has their right foot forward. Okay? Now, again, we've talked about this. These tactical simulations are based under the unrealistic premise that you hit with each movement and that they're still facing the same direction. But we know that actually won't happen. A lot of times they'll turn with it or they'll cut off the ring. That's why the rapid hitting with the same tool, whether it's with the lead hand or the rear hand, will give you the opportunity to still keep them on the defensive and allow you to follow up with whatever adjustment that you have to make. All right? So, there's your pivot. Cross and hook. Okay, let's take a look at that cross and hook again. So this could be a full off pivoting push. This could be a partial step where I just land on the ball and spring off of it. So there again is some of the variations that we've talked about throughout the series. Okay? Talk about full stepping, partial stepping, heel toe landing, or hitting from the toes. Okay? Those are usually dictated by distance and alignment. Distance and alignment. And whether your weight is 50-50 at the end of beginning or end of a step, or actually you've gone into the second movement when your weight has shifted to the opposite foot, as we discussed in the introduction to the 360-degree responses. All right, so jab, 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 cross, hook. Jab, 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 pivot. Let's try that again. My left side is a little bit weak still. I'm hesitant to fire it very strong. okay? Or high, low, high finish. High, low, high, cross, hook, hook. That time I went body and head, okay? So there's so much you can do with this. But again, the idea is that it's an odd position, and you know crabs walk sideways, and it's highly deceptive because I'm very open to attack. But I can either continue to move away, to use forward pressure, and to close with a pivot, or to close with the rear hand, the lead as a rear. Okay, so now you're beginning to see a bit more integration on the things that we've been talking about. What else did I want to say? Oh yeah, so again, this is safer in boxing, or let's say just working hands, elbows, headbutt kind of thing, with the gear on for sparring. In regard to kicking, you have to be careful on these crabby positions because your groin is open. So you at least have to be aware that you might have to close that off. Okay, that once you start hitting, there may be something coming up the middle here that you close off and come back into your hit. And then the same thing on this side. Boom, boom. Something comes in. Bang, bang. Okay? And we talked, I think I did one, as I recall, on the difference between I talked about the difference between the leg check shield from the JKD position versus the Muay Thai, right? Okay, so that's going to do it for today. And I already did my workout beforehand. This side's still a little bit paranoid about pushing it too far. So I heard it. I was doing my pull-ups, and then on the top of the cycle I was holding, and I got to 40-second holds on 3 sets, okay? And it felt great, good burn, everything. Next day I was fucked. But I'm getting better. Okay, see y'all mañana.